A beautiful world and a tantalizing mystery for you to discover. Hey there friends, it's Kodiak here, welcome back to Legacy Gaming. Today, we're taking a deeper look at Ember Studios' new game Strayed Lights to find out if it's worth your time. First things first, a big thank you to the team over at Ember Studios for providing us with an early review copy of the game. We've had this on our radar ever since it was first announced, and we've been excited to go hands-on. The title was revealed just over 2 months ago. The announcement was well received by fans of the genre, but after its initial buzz, it's been lying low, flying under the radar, waiting for its time to shine. Now let's be clear up front, is this game going to provide you with hours upon hours of playtime? No. In fact, our playthrough only took about 3 hours in total. With a little more item hunting, maybe you could squeeze out a 4th or 5th hour, but that's a maybe. Once complete, you don't have saves to go back to, areas to explore further, or items to go hunt down to build out your whole skill tree. It's a one and done type of game, and that's perfectly fine because the team has never advertised it as anything else. Strayed Lights is an atmospheric adventure. Think visuals, storytelling, otherworldly. The game weaves a tale leaving you thinking about what just happened and what it means in the broader context of the story. Not in a confusing way, mind you, rather, more about intrigue and mystery. I'll be honest, I don't play many games like this, so it took me a minute to wrap my head around what was going on. Once I figured that out, I started to get seriously wrapped up in the mystery of it all, and that's really when the game grabs you, in a good way. Strayed Lights has no voice acting and relies on visual cues, character expressions, and musical moments to amplify ongoing events. You're never told what's going on. There's no text dialogue, no map, and no NPC guidance. As you play, you'll peel back layers that help expand on the context of what you just experienced, which adds to the overall mystery of what's happening. It's actually quite hard to review a game like this without revealing too much. You're supposed to uncover what's going on for yourself and how it's shaping the world around you. As players, we might all have different emotional responses to the game, despite there being virtually no difference in the actual gameplay itself. This isn't uncommon for game developers to do, putting players at the center of an emotional journey, but these types of games lean further into video games as an art form as compared to video games as a source of pure hack-and-slash entertainment. So if the story and mystery are off limits, what can we talk about? Well, the game does have some systems, and as always, we love focusing on the things that make these games work in our reviews. First, let's look at combat. This is very much based on a Souls-like foundation. With a basic parry and some slightly variable attacks, your job is to anticipate your enemy's attack patterns and weave in your own attacks until they're defeated. Pretty standard stuff. One thing that struck me as unique was the exceptional use of color to advertise enemy behaviors. Blue and yellow attacks can be parried at all times, while purple cannot, and you simply need to avoid the incoming damage. You yourself can switch color stances, allowing you to match the incoming attack. If you parry with the wrong color, no harm done, you simply avoid the damage. However, matching your parry with the attack color will both do damage to the enemy and heal you for a small amount, but between parries and attacks, you'll dwindle the health of enemies until defeated. This mechanic is the main combat system throughout the entire game. In and of itself, a single enemy's attacks can easily be outmaneuvered, but as you progress, you'll encounter more than one enemy with more complex movesets. Throw in a boss, and it's a system that rewards mastery and punishes impatience. I actually love the visual simplicity but mechanical complexity of some of the enemies. Remember, we're only dealing with 3 colors for combat here, so you have to pay attention to the look and feel of each enemy to understand what moveset you're dealing with. The real challenge comes when dealing with multiple enemies. You're forced to try to isolate one target at a time, or if you're feeling confident, use some of your special abilities to take out all enemies head-on. Bosses were the real standout in my opinion. Each one was completely unique both visually and mechanically. The team wove in elements of these larger encounters throughout each of the biomes, sprinkling in elements of what was to come. It's meant to be both a carrot on a stick and a warning sign that you better master mechanics because soon, things were coming to a head. Encounters were impactful, driving the narrative forward, and once defeated, really furthered the environmental storytelling of the game. So how does Strayed Lights handle player power or progression? After all, if you're not getting stronger or changing your character in some way, it's pretty boring. Well, I'm happy to report the game does have just a few systems to modify both power and abilities to make you feel like you're getting stronger. By defeating a boss and clearing a biome, you'll gain a single token that can be used to learn new abilities, 3 in total. Additional tokens past this really only serve to modify those 3 core abilities with damage or duration buffs. On the other side of the tree are enhancement nodes. These are simple modifiers that increase your health, allow you to gain more healing when parrying, or increase your damage percentage. Currency for these are obtained after killing a monster. Kill a monster, gain a token, and once you have enough, come back to the hub and spend it on an upgrade. Let's be clear, the skill tree is nothing revolutionary. It's simple and effective. It doesn't overly complicate your combat mechanics, rather complements them. I did find myself using every ability regularly, nothing ever felt wasted, and what I invested in was impactful. Because the game is more about story and less about endless character progression, it's not as big of a deal that the skill tree system is rather basic. In most cases, we'd prefer something that really enhances our combat experience in a unique way, but this game thrives on its simplicity, so it's not that big of an issue. To round out the experience, you'll collect floating orbs throughout each biome. Once you collect a set amount of these, you'll unlock an increase to your overall energy reserves. Each tier, you'll be required to collect slightly more orbs than the last, and over time, these do really add up. After obtaining a few of these, I was hopeful this would be a system that encourages exploration and potentially opens up some sort of puzzle or traversal elements, but the more I engaged with it, the less excited I got finding each and every orb. There was typically a single enemy guarding these orbs, and oftentimes you see an orb in the distance and you simply walked around a corner to go pick it up. All in all, this was a pretty big disappointment, mainly because it felt more like a chore than a system designed to spark any sort of meaningful moment within the game. There are a fair number of things we like about Strayed Lights, but there are also a few things that could use some work. First, overall traversal. While not terrible by any means, the system felt like it lacked polish. I often found myself getting stuck in animations when trying to jump to a ledge that wasn't actually reachable, almost like I was jumping into molasses. I just slowly slide down the side of the rock, but couldn't actually do anything until the animation finished. I also felt moving around the world would be more fun with a double jump. You do move around a lot, often just running and running and running. There's a lot of empty space to navigate through. It's gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't engaging. And to my previous point, this is where the team could have really executed some traversal puzzles to obtain those power orbs. The traversal was also constantly interrupted, and that didn't make for a good experience if it was a core pillar of the game. Now, regarding combat, specifically bosses, there were moments during these encounters where you'd execute this super powerful attack to essentially end the fight. These moments were purely scripted cutscenes. Again, gorgeous, but had a couple of meaningless player engagement moments. As you're about to smack a boss into oblivion, you're prompted to hit a button. It was an unnecessary QuickTime event that didn't actually help connect me to what was going on in the game, rather just something that felt slapped on to create some false immersion. Finally, let's talk photo mode. While I appreciate a small studio adding this into the game, it's super limited. You're locked into about a 10-meter range in all directions, and I regularly found myself wanting to take a shot of some incredibly distant landscape only to hit an invisible wall, which immediately pulled me out of the moment. Then I'd try and spend some time finding a higher location to take that shot, and often I'd just settle for a shot I could get and moved on. Alright, so what's the deal, Kodiak? Is this game worth my time? Truth is, you're not going to get dozens of hours out of this game. The combat isn't complex, there's no difficulty settings, and there's no replayability. But the game doesn't advertise any of that as something it brings to the table. What Strayed Lights does really well is keep you immersed in the experience. The pull from one minor story moment to the next was just enough to keep me invested and wanting to play more, understanding the world around me. Between the incredible visuals and the enjoyable but simple combat, it was a playthrough I didn't want to stop until I was finished. With that in mind, yes, Strayed Lights is worth your time. A big congratulations to the team at Ember Studios for this release. It's an enjoyable game and we're excited to see what the team can do in the future. As always, we can't thank you guys enough for sticking through to the end of our review. If you enjoyed this content, we'd appreciate a like on the video, and if you want more videos like this in your feeds, consider subscribing. We have plenty of great coverage planned across a whole mess of new games, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.